There's like a lot of reasons to be pissed about, or for someone to be extremely angry about the entire situation. I should remind everyone this. You know, when I felt that there was some kind of a sense of racism, I thought or I took this liberty to listen to some basically good words. And I took times and I was listening to several quotes, like videos on YouTube about quotes. At that time, I didn't have an account on YouTube, so uh, it was quote. This was nice word. This was, Japanese stuff, or not Japanese stuff, but things which makes like someone state of mind to be like kind of good. Following that, I started listening to yeah, I started learning about Robert F. Kennedy basically because it's someone no GFK because it's someone who was extremely known and slowly and slowly and slowly it built up until I reached about RFK and everything about it. Later on, I arrived to Ron Paul, and I was watching a lot of Republican debates, and that was in 2011 and 2012, I think. It was not a waste of time. It was like good. It was like good reads about everything, basically, and I read everything that there is to know about the American history, and I did spend like a lengthy period of time, and I learned English at the same time as I was learning the the history of the United States, basically, and that was like kind of good, basically, and I hope there's like some kind of understanding that this situation is not extremely worrying, but it is a situation which is extremely not stressful, but I'm really upset basically, and there's a lot to yes, and there is justified reasons for that. By 2012, I had actually the opportunity to witness live the debates of the Republican Party, and they were like in Texas and in all of those places. Slowly, I started catching up some electronic files, learning about aeronautics and all of those stuff. I had like some kind like of plenty life basically. Then learning about the African American struggle and all of that. Maybe for few it's not. What is problematic with this is that there might be like some kind of paperwork or something that has been issued, but it never reached my location. And sadly, even like the even like the marine trip or the boat trip is stressful all the way to the east coast. I didn't drop any of that. I just reached some point of stagnation in my life, but it all cleared up basically. And the point that I'm arriving is that there is some kind of this is the point that I am getting to. It is there is some kind of discrepancies that here in here I had an engineering my life, the view that people have about me in Africa and in Europe, it's completely different. I'm getting to my point. The fact that I ended up writing to an application to an Austrian company, which is both they have a work in here, they have a salary. However, I took myself and my work, and I exhausted a lot of energy about it. I didn't steal it. It's my own work. It's my own thinking. It has been difficult from an A4 paper to writing almost 60 pages or 90 pages. It has been kind of difficult and stressful. I reached that point that it could be like fully functionable. However, there is like limitations in here within the people who are discriminatory, people who are racist, and I am extremely upset. I am extremely angry about the fact that there is some kind of disappearance of documents, and what I am angry about is that people are engaged in public acts of Nazism, deliberate acts of Nazism, acts of stealing intellectual property, theft of money, theft of a lot of things. I took myself, it has been like there's like the climate change agreement of 2009, which was in Copenhagen, about like reaching the target of 2 degree increase in the global average temperature by the year 2100 or 2100. Well, it's a way to ensure some kind of stability. However, what I have been faced with, as I have mentioned in the past, is that people deliberately give my property to other individuals. That people never landed in my place, as well as a lot of other things. From my own point of view, it is a situation which is stressful. In addition to the idiots without credentials, without thinking, and without really a brain, just speaking words and lashing out things which are completely unfounded and irrational, basically. And I always thought there would be some kind of a level of maturity, which is actually inexistent. And yes, basically, I go. Someone needs to understand that this is the situation that if a foreign money arrived to me from either the American continent, meaning like Mexico, Canada, or the United States, I will never get it. If it comes from Spain or France, I will probably receive something. But if it arrives from Portugal, no, if it arrives from France or Spain, because I try to make like the analogy that if you think about it, like if something comes from Portugal or Italy, all the money will go to like some energy entities or energy CEOs or people working as salaries for people who work in the energy in the oil industry. However, when you think about like if it comes from money, if it comes from France or Spain, it will be delivered to the right person, even if he is living in the middle of nowhere or he is living on the top floor of like a 30-story building or a 40-story building in the regions of the country. That person will receive his money even though he might be living in an agricultural farms in the regions of the countries. My point is that there is always someone who writes reports, who commit actions, and this level of immaturity sadly has been committed by individuals who are probably like individuals who are like who withhold their money, and it's who withhold other people's money, and that's probably strong financial institutions or strong banks within certain regions, probably Luxembourg, but I wouldn't say that. And in Germany, it might be an issue with jealousy and competition. My point is that it has been a stressful situation. It has been a build-up of a project or a solution, meaning that I had a mindset to find a solution since probably 2009. I get some kind of like it's like when you're searching or something in the middle of the jungle, then you find like some kind of a way between the trees which still has dirt in it. It's like a long path, and this is what happens in Switzerland, or this is what happens in the summer university in 2015. Meaning like I saw like the clear path. I will never say that the abstract of the work or like the ingenuity of the idea, it was never mine, but it was from someone else. And when I traced it now, it goes back to 1997, meaning like all of the youth in here were like 6 years old, and the person whom gave the idea was in 97 was like 40 years old or something like that in 1997. You can see like you can see that meaning like he's someone who has been like very advanced in his life, or that he took up the challenge since 1997, then he passed it on to the next generation. And now myself, I grouped it with and it's extremely tough job, meaning like I explained how to have like how to resolve a global crisis of climate change, meaning like the energy transition toward cleaner energies in terms of, and I linked it to the Sustainable Development Goals, because the person who introduced the subject in 2015 is someone I met in the past, and then I used how it's best way, and I started with this, meaning like I started with describing in my mind. Describing is like how would like a brain, the neurons of a brain reach like the tiptoes. And why did I focus on the brain function? Well, I was studying energy environmental engineering, and I had like this. I had like as a child, I had like this injury, and then I just kept on noticing how it affects everything within my body, slowly and slowly and slowly. Uh, then there was like this clear path, and okay, I thought I should focus on this. I started to build up like this kind like of a system. Should be this. No, I don't think anyone will have the same idea as me. Then it grouped up like an intense year in 2017. Then at like a critical moment, I was deciding like to probably go to an Anglophone countries since of the problems that has been generated. If I went to Germany, meaning like I had like to balance my work, goals, and a lot of things, and it reached to this. It reached to this final conclusion that to write to work, which is because I was still keeps on focusing on energy optimization and economical optimization, and at the very end I thought, well, it should be a complex energy system based on environmental sustainability. I completed it in the 20th of August 2017. I had my thesis, which was looking good. Having all of that recipe, I started working. The first time I put it to public, I put it with the person who is the same with me as the Sustainable Development Goals, and this was when I sent it on September 2nd or September 3rd, 2017. It was uh, on my way outside of Sweden. Can you believe this? Then I was in Göteborg. Then from Göteborg, I took a plane. I flew from Denmark. From Denmark, I flew from somewhere in Denmark. From Denmark, I landed in Paris airport. And from Paris airport, I was driven back to this. I took the plane all the way to Algiers in here, and from there, theft at the level of the luggage. People, those people are not Jews; they are thieves, and I noticed that the individuals in here have problems with Jews who are living south of Lebanon. They don't have a problem with Jews or the Jew behavior happening in North Africa. Okay, we found the recipe, and you find these people who are mentally ill, these individuals who are sick psychologically, and incompetent police officers, and incompetent individuals who basically like it said that President Carter never fired a shot or never fired a single bullet. And here we are today. I wrote the plan, multi-layer, multi-energy system based on environmental sustainability with a business plan, complex system on Umgebung, and I sent it to the most competent individual that could exist in Europe, and I sent it to specifically Mrs. Evelyn Steinberger Khan. Then, when I approached the embassy to collect my documents, I found the people who work for the oil industry interest, for the interest of African countries, and all of those other individuals who just give everyone like a brain problem. And the amount of crimes is extremely flagrant. I'm not is extremely flagrant, and nobody is it's extremely difficult to give me something, and or to give me my own property. And apparently, as I notice, it's individuals who are both racist and thieves. It's like they have both of those qualities, and they have no level of maturity. And I'm sorry, uh, plus the amount of intimidation, humiliation that I have received prior to April 23rd, 2018, by youth who are like the scum of the planet. And yes, I'm angry. And when I'm making this, is like I really expect that people probably someone has like to thought it would be like an easy job, and they probably like sent like 5 or 10 people. But apparently, yes, I do expect from you or from anyone who is capable to have like an organized battalion, probably like with boats, aircrafts, and intelligence personnel, just in order to travel to a country in Europe. And that country in Europe has like the headquarters of OPEC, and the country before it is the country to whom we export gas to them. We export like natural gas to them. It's like the biggest purchaser basically in Europe, as well as my history with Spain, with like interest like in solar energy, and on paper, when you see it on paper, it looks like extremely easy, but in reality it's one of the most difficult tasks that's possible. uh, Probably it should be like as a movie trailer like for Mission Impossible 7. Yeah, this is like I'm angry, irritated, really pissed, and yes, I do intend to persecute every single individual who has been an obstacle. Prosecute them.